per 36 minutes this year, Tre Mann is averaging a career high in points and effective field goal percentage. And right now, he looks like a front runner for 6th man of the year. And with each passing game, his role for the Hornets keeps getting bigger and bigger. Now, when looking closer at Mann's game, the obvious thing that stands out is his ball handling. Off the dribble, Mann has both a sticky handle and crisp footwork, which allows him to use his entire body to sell moves. Watch him here get to this aggressive push cross to his right, and notice how he turns his hips and drops his shoulders to sell that right hand blow by. And once he gets this defender to turn and open up their stance, Mann's going to transfer his weight to his right foot and snap this tight crossover back towards the middle. And again, the foundation with all these shifting moves lays with Mann's ability to transfer his weight from side to side without losing balance. Take this play for example. Mann's going to float out as if he's about to use his ball screen, and in one smooth motion he's able to transfer his weight to his outside foot and flow into this crossover back towards the middle. And then on top of all these lateral moves in open space, Tre's handle also allows him to knife through small gaps in traffic. We'll see him here working off this ball screen to his right. And notice how Giannis is going to aggressively shift up to meet him at the 3. So in response, Tre's going to push the ball through and split the screen to his left. Off the bounce, Mann also has really good pace, where he's great at subtly changing his level to then quickly drop down into his drive. We'll see him here get the switch off the screen and watch him casually bring the ball through and lift up his level to then lazily bring it back through. But notice how Mann gets his stance opened up, making it easier for him to explode to the basket. This is also a tough move here in transition, where Mann's going to hit a right hand hezzy by skipping off his left foot to then replant it and push himself downhill. And in stride, he's going to completely lose DiVincenzo with this spin.
Man. Oh, nice block.
Now what really ties everything together for Mann's handle to his pace is going to be his overall strength. Over the years, Mann's gotten much more physical and stable with the ball, where he now has the ability to deal with contact while committing his body into moves. Plus that lower body strength also helps him stay on balance when getting to these quick stops and starts off the dribble. We'll see him here turn the corner off the screen to his left, then slide the ball behind his back. And with his weight shifted forward, notice how Mann has the control to organize his feet and push himself downhill. And then all that strength with the ball also carries over to Mann's finishing around the basket, where he's now comfortable lowering his shoulder to carve out attacking angles, to then keep his driving line all the way to the basket. Right here, he's not going to do anything super advanced off the dribble. He's just going to lower that shoulder and use this tight driving line to bump and extend to the rim. When playing downhill, Tre also has some good tools as a finisher. If he has this space in front of the basket to charge up, he's easily got the verticality to play above the rim. Plus, he can also cover a good amount of ground on the floor with his strides by picking up and using his steps to create finishing angles. Watch him here beat this drop defender with the tight in and out. Then after one dribble, Mann's going to pick up and get to this inside hand reverse layup. And that improved lower body strength also allows him to use some deceleration in the paint. Right here, he's going to turn the corner off his handoff. And as the shot blocker shifts over, Tre is going to come to an aggressive jump stop to send both these defenders flying. So while Tre does have some good tools as a finisher, his percentages at the rim, however, have been pretty low. Mann athletically does have the ability to generate a ton of force off the floor, but when stepping through traffic and dealing with contact, he does have a hard time generating the same verticality off the floor. We'll see him here initially beat Tatum to his right, but as he picks up and veers back towards the middle, Mann doesn't have nearly enough elevation to create a finishing window around the shot blocker. I also think Mann has a hard time initiating contact into his finishes, where if he tries to get physical and bump on the way up, he commonly loses his balance and throws up a sloppy shot. Watch him here again get this blow by to his right. And as the weak side big slides over, Tre is going to get to a jump stop and attack his body, but he again lacks the lift and strength to muscle up a finish. So because Tre lacks the elevation and physicality to consistently finish in traffic, he commonly rushes up these extended scoop layups before the defense collapses. And these on paper aren't always bad looks for him, but they're still more difficult shots. Plus, he's pretty much never going to draw free throws by avoiding contact like this.
Using a screen out front, high off the window, doesn't go.
Now, one way Tre's been able to work around his lack of finishing in the paint is to instead stop short for these floaters. And so far this year, he's been shooting 52% on these looks. When playing downhill, Mann's balance and lower body strength again plays a big factor, because that's what allows him to aggressively attack into open space to then pop up these 1 or 2 foot runners. We'll see him here take one dribble off his screen, and when these two defenders turn to meet him at the rim, Tre is going to pick up and elevate off his ball side foot. And while Tre does struggle with contact around the basket, his stability with the ball on the perimeter and in the mid-range is still really good, where even if he gets knocked off balance and gets to an awkward pickup, he still has the control to put up a soft look. And that control combined with Mann's elite handle and pace makes him a nightmare to deal with when he turns the corner. This move right here is tough, where Tre is going to use his pace to set up this left to right between blow-by. And as the help side slides over, Tre is going to skate out to his left, as if he's separating for a step back. And notice how that pulls this defender out of his stance, giving Tre a window to pick up for his floater. Now these tools and skills obviously carry over to Mann's pick and roll game, where he's got a good feel of reading the court and navigating to open spots for his pull-up game. Notice here how Jaden McDaniels has his hips turned, trying to force Mann off these staggered screens. But Tre is going to skip out and snap this left to right crossover, to then stop short for this easy 10-foot jumper. This is probably the most impressive clip of the video, where Mann's being guarded by Jrue Holiday, who was one of, if not the best backcourt defender in the league. And watch how Mann is first going to drop his shoulder and attack hard to his right, to then stop and come off the screen back to his left. And he gets Holiday hung up, giving him the time and space to snake into his jumper. So with the ball in his hands, Tre's been a very effective downhill and mid-range scorer. His numbers at the rim still have some room for improvement, but Mann is still finding ways to score with his floater game and leaning on his upgraded pace and physicality. Now throughout this year, Mann's also found a ton of success with his perimeter scoring, where behind the line he's putting up some very impressive numbers. Obviously Mann's ball handling and footwork plays a big factor in his ability to create space, and he's for sure got all the step backs and side steps in his bag. One of his go-tos has been this right hand heavy pullback, where Mann pushes the defense back by skipping up to then split his stance and drop his shoulder selling the drive. Then he's going to bring his right foot back and settle himself into his jumper. Tre on the perimeter also loves these snatchbacks, where he gets the defense to open up with these tight attacking angles to then plant his outside foot and transfer the ball through.
Oh, went right by his ear. Oh, finally!
We'll see him here turn on the Jets and get Jalen Green to turn and open up his stance. And Mann from here has the control to slam the brakes and separate out behind the line. And Tre also has the handle and balance to create separation going to his left. The footwork here is really tough, where Tre's working off the screen, and he's going to again drop his level to sell this drive. And from here, he's got the control to slide the ball behind, step back off his right foot, and turn his hips to get himself angled to the rim. And that shot making and footwork carries right over to Tre shooting off the catch, where he brings a ton of value as a floor spacer, which makes him an easy fit alongside Charlotte's other elite on-ball creators. When shooting off the catch, Mann also has the footwork and balance to shoot on the move. I wouldn't say he's the most active mover off the ball, but he still has the tools to pick his spots and punish the defense. Right here in crunch time, the Hornets are going to use him as a screener for LaMelo, and he's going to quickly slip out to the wing for this clutch three.
Tre Mann! That's what I'm talking about!
So Tre Mann overall has been a very consistent bench player for the Hornets. With the ball, he's got the ability to create offense from all three levels, while also bringing a good scoring punch off the ball. I'm not sure how high Tre's ceiling is right now, but he's still showing that he's got the game to bring value to any team. If you enjoyed this breakdown, please like and subscribe, and let me know in the comments who the kids should break down next. The kids here.